portal, and I'm going to cover really kind of just how to navigate, and I'm going to focus on about 5 key ways in which the CoolProEM can save you a lot of money, not just in electrical costs, but on maintenance costs as well. When you log into the CoolProEM at CoolProEM.net, what you'll see on your screen is, this will be the login screen. You'll see this little circle right here, which tells you your instantaneous energy use in your building. You've got a 7-day energy history. You also have a 7-day HVAC history, HVAC being heating, ventilation, and air conditioning. You'll be able to see how many thermostats or how many air conditioning units you have in your facility, as well as how many electric panels are connected to the system. Now, one of the big ways that the CoolProEM is designed to save you money is on your air conditioning runtime when your facility is vacant. One of the big things about air conditioning companies, they like to set the air conditioning temperatures, evening temperatures when nobody's in the building, or weekend temperatures. They like to set that temperature about 80 degrees, which in a lot of parts of the country that may be fine, but certainly not in Florida or other warm states where we typically cool 10 months a year. At 80 degrees, typically, let's say your facility is open 8 to 5, Monday through Friday. You're closed on weekends. Well, that means you're closed for, roughly, well, if you're open 9 hours, then you're technically closed substantially more than you're open. So what at that point, you've got 15 hours of time that you're closed, and during that 15 hours, the temperature is definitely going to get above that 80-degree point. So and especially if you're closed, close at Friday night at 5 o'clock, and then you're not going to reopen again until 8 o'clock Monday morning, you're going to get substantially above 80 degrees. So what we typically see in facilities like that is 3 to 4 hours of runtime on your air conditioning while you're closed on those weekdays, and then on the weekend is between 12 and 15 hours of runtime over the weekend. And that can be really substantial considering you're open 9 hours. So even if you're cooling, let's just say 60% of the time, because your air conditioners turn on and off. And remember, on the screen here, you're looking at 5 air conditioning units. So if you take and those 5 air conditioning units are running 60% of the time, that's about 5 hours a day each. But you're closed 15 hours, and they're running anywhere from 3 to 4 hours while you're closed, and 12 to 15 hours over the weekend. Your runtime on air conditioning while you're closed is almost as much as when you're open. So the key to saving in those areas, certainly anybody could set your thermostats to let the thermostat turn it off at night. The problem there is you could have humidity issues. You don't want the humidity to get too high. So what CoolProEM does is it makes sure you're not heating or cooling in the controlled space when the facility's vacant, and it's also monitoring humidity. So if the humidity does get too high, we can run whatever particular unit it is where the humidity gets too high. That's a very key area. The amount of waste in air conditioning can be as much as 50% of your total runtime in air conditioning can be while you're closed. One last thought when it comes to that, if your air conditioning is running 3 hours at night, we can't save you a full 3 hours because we're going to have to bring it on a little earlier in the morning, so when you walk in the door, it's nice and cool. So out of that 3 hours, we might have to bring it on an extra 20 minutes early. So instead of saving 3 hours of runtime, we save 2 hours and 40 minutes. But per day, and then on weekends, that can really add up to substantial savings. So now we're looking at the web, back to the web portal here. If you'll notice, a lot of these things are clickable, meaning you can click on these occupied. I can look at unoccupied times. I can look at vacant, energy use. The same with HVAC history. Everything here is clickable, and I'm going to go a little fast just because this is just really an overview. Now, one of the next areas where the CoolProEM can save a substantial amount of money is in what I call the security of the of the unit. So let's go in and look at the setup of each particular unit, if you will. Now, I logged in over here in setup, so you can see we're going to be able to name wherever we wherever we are in your facility. We can name each one of those items so that you know what area you're cooling. But this particular screen here is what we call the advanced setup screen. Now, we enter a password in this little box, and that password is actually the password that works at your programmable stats. So our energy management system, we actually can control the stats from right here. Now, why do we put a password in there? Well, because we're trying to give management level control. So in this case, this happens to be our building, but we do have a password, but I allow up to 5 degrees up and down. That's it. In many businesses, thermostat wars happen all the time. So if I chose to, I could change that security setting to make sure that, nope, I'm only going to give you 1 degree up and down, 2 degrees, 3 degrees, 4 degrees, and up to 5 degrees. But how long it stays there is a key to saving money. What happens with most energy management systems is they have a little button called hold, and it's even on programmable thermostats. So you adjust the thermostat and you hit that hold button. It'll stay in that state forever until somebody changes it. There should never be a hold button. So right here we control the hold duration, and it's either going to be for 1 hour, 2 hours, or the next scheduled boundary or next scheduled change, if you will. So why is that so important? If somebody goes up to the thermostat and makes an adjustment, let's say that it's at a restaurant and it's 9 o'clock at night and it's really warm, everybody's in there, so they adjust it, they run it down 5 degrees. Well, if we have control of that and we're only going to keep it there an hour, what's not going to happen is it's not going to be freezing cold when they walk in the next morning. So in that way, there's a huge amount of savings that can be saved there. The next area of savings is in controlling demand, what we often call sequencing. So I'm going to go into, right now I'm just showing you little HVAC control areas here. But under HVAC control, I'm going to go into the settings. And so if you see this right here on your screen, this sequencing mode, what sequencing does is, let's say you have 10 air conditioning units. Well, there's 2 components to your electric bill. There's kilowatt hours, which is watt times hours, and then there's kW, which is instantaneous demand, meaning what you're using in the facility at that moment in time. If you'll notice right here on my screen, this facility, our facility, is using 29 kW right now. Well, utility companies charge in kW. It typically makes up half your bill. So I'm going to go in here and I'm going to show you we can control that. We can actually stage the way certain air conditioning units come on. So like I said, if you have 10 air conditioning units, we can make sure that only 4 of them or 3 of them run at the same time or start at the same time, which will control demand. And so that can save you a substantial amount of money. That's one of the big questions. How can you help shed demand? We can do it right here under the sequencing mode. Another way that we save money. One aspect about air conditioning is that when a compressor operates, it compresses Freon. When the Freon basically is compressed, it boils and becomes a cold gas. When it's in that gaseous state, it will stay in that state for as long as 7 or 8 minutes, meaning it's freezing cold at that moment in time. So what ends up happening with most air conditioning systems, when the thermostat has achieved its call for cooling, the air conditioner turns off and the fan turns off. We don't allow that. In the when I say we don't allow that, when we're in what we call savings mode, we actually are going to turn the compressor off, which uses the majority of the energy. We're going to turn that compressor off once we've got to the desired set point, but we're going to allow the air handler to run for an extra 2 minutes. And that's going to blow the rest of that cold air into the space. So we're not giving away that cold air by just letting it sit there in the air handler. We're going to blow that cold air into the controlled space, and that I mean, that achieves, you know, additional savings as well. And then the other area, which is this can save on maintenance, a large amount of maintenance costs. First of all, air conditioning systems do not just break one day. What typically happens is you get a small leak in a Freon line, and it's very small. So the first day you don't even notice it, but the next day, let's say your thermostat's set at 74 degrees. Well, all of a sudden we're not getting to the desired set point. And so what's going to happen is we have these alerts, and we would actually get a zone not regulating. Right here, if you see on the screen, in my office, we've got this set at zone not regulating. If it gets out of parameters by 3 degrees for 2 hours, it's going to send a text and an email to the contact that we choose. It could be your air conditioning contractor, it could be your maintenance person, but we're going to send that zone not regulating text or email. That is a huge area, because what normally happens is you have that Freon leak, and that Freon leak is going to continue. And what will happen is over a period of time, maybe a month or 2 months, all of a sudden your compressor locks up, it freezes up. So instead of what could have been a small repair, and small in the air conditioning business is probably a couple $100, what could have been a couple $100 repair turns into be a $5,000 or $6,000 or $7,000 repair, because you're replacing a compressor. So we want to eliminate the major repairs. I'm not going to tell you that you're not going to have major repairs, but we want to get to the minor repairs much quicker to prevent those catastrophic repairs as much as possible. If you have air conditioning, you're going to be repairing it. That's just a fact of nature. But another area, one of the biggest pushbacks we'll get from air conditioning contractors is that, well, if you turn the air conditioning system off when nobody's in the facility, the humidity will get too high. Well, we're gonna watch that humidity. See right here, we've got alerts for high humidity or low humidity. We're gonna watch that humidity, and if it gets too high in any area of the facility, we're gonna make adjustments. So let's say, as I said before, let's say we're trying to not run the air for 3 hours a night. Well, let's say in the middle of the night, we're noticing that the temperature is getting to be about 60% humidity. 62% is really where the problems begin, but let's say it's getting to 60%. The next day, we're probably going to run that air conditioning for 20 or 30 minutes in the middle of the night, maybe not even 30, maybe 15, just to keep that humidity out of that particular one unit, because normally it's not more than 1 or 2 units out of many units. So those are areas where the CoolProEM system will save money. Now, what I want to show you on your screen is some of the things we capture. Now, the CoolProEM system will have 4 months of data. You'll have your energy usage, so I can see that our facility used 196 kilowatt hours yesterday. The average outside temperature was 75 degrees. I can see what's using energy in our facility. You can see it's HVAC and lighting. I can see how many, basically how much air conditioning. We ran 848 minutes of air conditioning yesterday, and I can look at all this as far as 4 months back. All of this data can be exported into Excel, but additionally, I can even break it down even more. I can look at what, in fact, is really what's using the energy. I can look at there's a lot of things we can look at here, but for the most part, I mean, I can look at power factor and voltage and kW. For the most part, most clients don't go into all the extensive reporting capabilities of this. It's here, though, for those who need it. So that's a brief overview of the energy saving capabilities, but also one last thing. One of the nice things about the CoolProEM system, whether you have 1 location or 10,000 locations, you have the ability to update all of your air conditioning units at a single press of the button. Why is that important? Well, let's say you're normally open 9 to 5 Monday through Friday, or 8 to 5 Monday through Friday, but you're going to have a big event at one of your facilities. Well, you could go in and actually create an event and globally change all of those units for 1 day. Or you might be closed for a holiday, so you want to make an adjustment for 1 day. It's so easy to do it. You can make an adjustment literally in a matter of minutes. The system is designed to give you total control of your air conditioning or heating from a common point, far more than any other energy management system out there, and it's made to do so in a very cost-effective way that is going to give you a great return on investment. Thank you.